What's up, YouTube? Check, check, check. Just hanging out this morning with the grandmother. Chilling out in the studio. If anybody can let me know how the levels are. Can you hear me? Can you hear the Moog? Check. Hey, Low Kid. Appreciate it. Thanks. Just kind of chilling out. Haven't played with grandmother for a little while. Just thought about messing around, firing her up for a bit. Grandmother was the first of the modern synths that I got of the newer stuff about, almost 5 years ago, and has stayed in the studio. Has some sentimental value. It was my very first Moog that I ever got, and really fell in love with her. Just has a great sound. I really love the spring reverb on it. Turn on some modulation here. Some pulse width. Cut off amount. I think I'm going to put the waveform square. Get the resonance up. We'll turn that down. That spring reverb is just lovely, though. Real spring reverb. Been experimenting. For a long time, I was using the grandmother as my main source of synth bass. It really shines in that area. But there's an instrument input, and I've been running things through it over this last couple years for sampling purposes, just doing some synthesis on samples and stuff. It's really, I think, something that you don't see a lot of people talk about is running different things through the instrument inputs. It's always such a huge thing when a synthesizer has an input that has things like, full synthesis capabilities, effects, things like that you can run other things. And I've been doing like tape machines and different things through it, samples and stuff that I'll record and bounce into the ASRX Pro or to the MPC and use to sample. But I really do love the grandmother. It's a special synthesizer. It's got a pretty basic, this is just an arpeggiator I got going, just was kind of playing around with it. Use some modulation. Scale it back. Maybe a little pitch just to get weird with it for a moment. Just bring in a little noise. I'll change the octave. Let's get a little bassier, because that's where I think the grandmother really shines. Although it can get very, very pretty. downs. My voice kind of slow, Hans Volt. How you doing? Yeah, I guess maybe I'm kind of chilling this morning. Do I sound? Is my voice? The mic sound all right? Hang on. Check some levels here. Thanks for dropping by, guys. Maybe I'm feeling kind of slow this morning, so maybe that's reflected in my voice. Just hanging out with the grandmother, having a little coffee. It's been quite a while since I've really played with her much. She's kind of got put by the wayside as newer things have come into the studio over time. As I was saying earlier, this was the first of the modern synthesizers that I got that kind of started me on a path, semi-modular, of getting some newer things and just kind of really going down a deeper rabbit hole of synthesizers. Grandmother was the inception of that, pretty much. Like I said, I love the spring reverb. Was going to hook a delay pedal up too, because it really enhances it. But it's kind of weird to have that reverb going into the delay. It works, but sometimes that's no reverb at all. Let's turn the modulation rate down. Bring the decay back up. Oh, kind of low. Gotcha. Sorry. Maybe I should put my glasses on. You don't see a computer. How do I sequence? So the computer's actually in front of me. Turn this down real quick. Yeah, the computer is on this side. Everything's kind of. But I do different forms of, like, I'll sequence things a lot of times on my MPCX or my Electron stuff. Then go into the computer from there. Here, I can turn up. You can actually hear me fine. I was going to say I could turn the mic up just a little bit. Okay. Oh, maybe that's too loud. Sorry about that. Yeah, I do different sequencing techniques. I have different equipment that I'll use. I have quite a few sequencers. I've got a KeyStep Pro over there I'll use when I'm just kind of doing DAW-less jams. Hey, all right. Now you can hear me better? Right on. How's everyone do today? You guys good? It's actually kind of the first day we've had this morning. Seems like it's actually fall. I don't know how much it'll heat up later, but it was pretty chilly this morning. I'm going to be going out doing some yard work, and that's cool. I don't want to be sweating out there. It's been pretty hot for this time of year. I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but I'm in northern Nevada, and normally it's cooled off a bit by now. Oh, you got a K5000? Nice. Yeah, I really, really like the K5000. Unique synthesizer. That's the only additive synth that I have. Kind of a little bit of a pain to program, but worth it. I think I need some of the buttons on this one kind of stick a little bit. I guess that's a common problem. But yeah. The mixer on the floor, that one down there is a 1978 Studio Master 12-2. It's from when Studio Master was actually a British company in England before they got sold. And they actually made pretty good stuff back then. Um, I got that from a friend for $100 and did some refurbishing on it, recapped it, and used it for a while in my older studio. And I'm gonna make use of it again here when I redo another section of the house that I'm putting a kind of secondary studio in for more of my tape experimentations and test equipment and other stuff that I haven't really been doing much lately as far as music, other than I've been in the box a lot, using the Linstrument and pigments and things like that. My hardware I just haven't used as much lately. I've been very busy with work and life, and just I don't know. Sometimes I get into I wouldn't call it a slump, but I just kind of go on waves of creativity and productivity when it comes to being creative. And sometimes it's good for me to just like take a little time away because I get so wrapped up into projects when I'm, and I can get a lot done when I'm getting to that creative mode. But yeah, I don't know. This last like month or two, I just haven't really felt motivated to want to do so much in the studio. I do have other things that I devote my time to. Obviously, there's work and family and things, but um, yeah, I don't know. I just haven't really had the urge to make a lot of videos for YouTube or so many tracks. I do have a couple new tracks I've been working on. Like I said, most of them are in the box. The Roger Lynn instrument has been something that I just practice on, or I play my guitar and stuff. But yeah, creativity ebbs and flows. It sure does. Um, what DAW I use? Studio One, Persona Studio One. I've got version 5. I'm behind a year or two as far as the versions, but it works really well for me. I've been using it for about 4 or 5 years, and it's my main go-to for recording, mastering, all that stuff. Uh, I did get Bitwig not long ago. Well, it's been about a year or two. Around the time I got it, a version free came with the instrument. Excuse me. And I've played around with that, and I like Bitwig. I'd kind of like to get into that more, but yeah, I'm just so comfortable at this point in Studio One that I just kind of stick with that. But what do you use? What's your DAW? Cubase, 15 years. Wow, that's cool. I used a version of Cubase long time ago. I think it was like, geez, when was that? 2010 or something. Like it probably was a cracked version a friend gave me or something. But I tried it out for a while. Yeah, I really like Studio One. It's just I've gotten used to it. DAWs. It's just like a comfort zone. I know most people use Ableton that do electronic music and stuff, but let me switch this up some. Switch this up a little bit so it's not repetitive. Let's get kind of weird with it. It is hard to switch DAWs. Really is. It's like you get so used to it. It's like, who wants to spend all the time to learn a whole new UI and all that? It's fun to do with hardware, but when I'm on the computer in the box, just clicking around, figuring out, hey, I know how to do this in seconds in the DAW I'm in, but I have to sit there and find it in a manual or look up things to figure things out. Like I just, takes away from the limited time that I have already. Traditional Moog. Really get some of those sounds out of this thing that I always wanted growing up. Having a Moog, I never could afford like a real one for years. So that when they released like this series of the Grandmother Matriarch, the semi modulars, it was pretty exciting to kind of, at least to me, seem like it was affordable. I know a lot of people still complain that Moog's too expensive and stuff, but I think something like the Grandmother for what you get is more than reasonable. Curious. You obviously have a lot of gear, but what have you sold recently because it just wasn't fitting in your setup? Good question. I typically don't sell anything. I'm just the type of person. Years ago, I had a lot of music gear and I had a studio set up. And at one point, I sold a lot of stuff. Sold like my Roland Alpha Juno 1 and some other older synthesizers. Nothing like super like high end or anything, but guitar pedals, things. I kind of scaled down. Excuse me. And I really, really regretted uh, that down the road. Like, seriously regretted selling some of that stuff. And since then, when I started buying new stuff again and got kind of reinvigorated to make music again, I I don't sell anything. I keep every piece of gear that I have. I'm trying to think. There's been a couple things I sold. I did sell my. I had the drum boot Impact, and I let that go not long ago. And just because I wasn't using it, I have so many drum machines already, and I kind of wish I would have kept it. I didn't sell it because I needed the money so much. One thing I have sold twice is the Electron Digitact. I bought it, used it for a while, sold it, regretted that, bought another one, used it for a while. Again, I just wasn't using it to make full tracks and wasn't using it like I was using the MPC as my main drum machine. I had the Impact, I have the SRX Pro, I've got the, Roland SP404 MK2. Had lots of other things that I'd use for my drums. So I let the Digitact go a second time. And then, like, I want to say it was like not even a month later, they came out with that big update that they did. It was a couple years ago. It was a really, really big update. And that's when I was like, okay, that was stupid. Why did I sell it again? Like, I missed it. I liked jamming on it. I like sampling and just mangling and doing weird stuff and making things on it. And so I got a third Digitact, and that one I think isn't going to go anywhere. I know Digitact 2 is out now, but then I ended up right around then got the Digatone, which is a really cool little 4-operator FM synth if you haven't ever played with that, and then got the Syntact, and kind of like went a lot heavier into the Electron universe. I mean, I got an Octatrack now. Still haven't mastered that thing. Like I said, I just haven't really spent a lot of time with hardware lately. I don't like to sell gear either, but I recently sold a bunch of Behringer synths. Yeah. See, I wonder how did those hold their value from like being new? The only Behringer synthesizer I have is the 2600, which I really, really like that thing. That's not going anywhere. I have thought about a few of the other ones, some of the new stuff coming out. Every time I actually think about getting one of their synths, I'll see it, some video or something on it, or they'll post something about it, and I'll go to look, and it's not for sale. It's not available yet. So I'm always like, well, okay, I guess I'll wait. And by the time I wait, I'm like, I kind of move on from it. I do mean to get, and I want to get the Cobalt expander because I've got a spot underneath the 2600 that I think that would fit and be a nice fit with the 2600. But yeah, trying to stay away from Uli scents. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of controversy there and whatnot. I'm not I'm not a big fan of everything they do. I think when they do original stuff, it's pretty cool. Like that one they just announced, it was like a week or two ago. I can't remember what it's called. The grinder. That was cool. They came up with something original. I mean, DeepMind, Neutron. I like that kind of stuff. I don't think it's real cool when they copy ones that are still in production from other manufacturers. I know they have one out now that's like their version of the grandmother, which it doesn't bother me that somebody can have a cheaper form of the grandmother. That's not what it is. I don't know. There's just something about kind of seems kind of ripping off to just like if it's something that's not in production anymore and stuff, it doesn't. I'm totally cool with that, like the 2600 or something. But I don't know, like they did their version of the key step and stuff. I don't get like real deep, and I don't get angry about it. I'm not like a synth snob that's like Behringer giving you know synthesizers to poor people or whatever. Like I know there's a lot of debate out there. Um, so I'm kind of in the middle, like not a Behringer bro, but not like don't have total hate, but I do just like kind of sometimes I'm just like their marketing and how they do stuff. So yeah, they don't hold value. I didn't think so. Sold at a considerable loss. Dang, grind. Yep. Hey, what's up, Viral? Good to see you, man. How are you? People know me as a Behringer hater. Well, I can see why. Um, but like I said, I just don't have time for that stuff. Man, turn it on that real spring reverb. Let's see. And with that said, I kind of like that grind. Yeah, yeah. I looked at that. That thing actually looks pretty cool. I can't. I was impressed. Some of the sound sounded really good. There's been a few things they have. I've considered getting a Model D. The only reason I didn't get the Model D is because I had the grandmother. And if I was going to get the Model D, it would be for like bass sounds to get that Moog kind of bass sounds. And I can get that in spades with the grandmother. And to me, I mean, it might not be a Model D or whatever, but it's to me, it's like fills all those gaps for my needs for like a real analog synth bass. I like to, because I'm a bass player, I like to do bass lines with the Moog and then like double them with actual live bass, get some real heavy stuff. That's like an old trick from the 80s that, studio trick where they would double the bass with a synth bass. I've been doing some of that. You had the Model the D. Yeah, it's not. It's like I'll think about it, and it's like it's just kind of repetitive to every like. You know, I, lately, lately, just all sense that I look at, I'm just like, what's it really going to bring to the table that I can't already achieve with, say, the analog monosynths I have, or the electrons, or my Arturias, the Hydrasynth. If with some sound design, you can make like almost any sound on that, and then add outboard effects and run it through some analog equipment. You can get like, so I don't know. I just always, for a long time there, I was so like on the new thing, like what's new, what's like out, like what's exciting, and I'd get like I had gas pretty bad there for a few years. And this last like year, I'll still check out videos. I'll look at watch whatever comes out, whether it be a loop hop video or whoever is like, oh, this new thing that looks cool, and I'll watch part of it. There's been some really cool stuff. Don't get me wrong. The Pittsburgh modular synths, and there's obviously the Muse, and the Polybrute 12. There's some amazing stuff that's come out, but I just I'm pretty comfortable with what I have, and the capabilities that I have to produce most sounds that I want. And like I said, I mean, half the time lately, I'm using the Arturia software in the box with like the instrument and stuff, and using MPE. So, let's see, has a good sound, but not special. Oh, the D, yeah. You sold your Hydra, yeah. Why did you sell it? What was the reason? You just didn't click with it, or? I really like. I have just the desktop, and I like the Hydra synth. It's a really cool synth. I mean, to me, it's kind of like the closest thing of a modern synth to like a Virus or something, with its capabilities. I enjoy it. I like to use the Microfreak to control it, because you get the polyphonic aftertouch with that touch plate. That's kind of cool. Most of your synths are vintage, non-per function. Hate the menu diving on the Hydra. All right, that's fair enough. It does have, its share of menu diving for sure. If you can go extremely deep. Now, that's cool. Yeah, you have a big vintage collection, huh? You're that's awesome. I mean, I don't have a lot of vintage synths per se. I've got like the AN1X here and the K5000. Got a Quasi MIDI Sirius up there with a broken key. It's been driving me nuts. I got a new key, and I was gonna put it in, but then it's missing this little clip or little thing that goes underneath. And I called around different places around, and emailed people, and because I'm willing to take it apart and do it. It's a really big thing to fix that damn key, and I'm willing to put in the effort to do that. But I want to make sure I have everything right. I don't want to take it apart and then have it out on my workbench like all in pieces for a long time. So Hydra was not easy to play with the others. Didn't fit in the mix well, huh? Hey, what's up, Paul? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Just hanging out with the grandmother. Haven't pulled grandmother out in some time, and decided I'd just kind of play with her a little. I was just sampling some arpeggiations and stuff earlier. Got it on random right now. Let's go backward and put it on number 2 and do something different here. Just doing arpeggiations. Love the spring reverb. Bring the decay down a little. I really like the bass on the grandmother. Bring him some pulse width. Throw some glide in there. Yeah. It's a really basic, subtractive synthesis synthesizer, but it's got all those, to me, it's got all that flavor of, the real old Moog sound, which is why I got it. I'd always wanted a Moog, and when I was first I was thinking about building a Euro rack. I got kind of hooked on watching modular videos for a while, because I'd had synthesizers. I'd had like older synths and stuff, Rolands and Yamahas and stuff. Nothing like super high end, but and then I saw how it's kind of laid out, where it's like kind of like different modules, and then you can patch it together. And I decided, it was kind of my, introduction into any kind of modular synthesis, which led to getting the Mother and DFAM and then Subharmonicon, and And then I never went down that Euro crack rabbit hole, and I'm glad that I haven't because just I don't know. I'm just glad I haven't financially, especially. Right? Quite a bit of work. Replaced all the bushings on your cat. It went out already on your original cat or the Behringer one. That does sound like a lot of work. With the Hydra, I found the crazy, wonky sounds I wanted to pull out of it tended to sound thin and digital. I thought that at first too for a while. And then as I got a little deeper with it, I found, I do some outboard processing with it to get to kind of beef up the sound a little bit. But I think you can get some really warm, rich kind of tones out of it that sound, like on par with some of the better VAs, like the AN1X, which I think is one of the best virtual analogs of all time, in my opinion. It takes some work, definitely. There's patches. I think for whatever reason, when they released it, their patches that they started with on it just did not do justice to the capabilities of what the Hydra can actually do. You can make almost any sound on that thing, in my opinion. But I feel you. A lot of people, I think, have that same kind of feeling. The Hydra can sound fat. Octave cat. Oh, okay. SRM2. Nice. Nice. Heard the same thing about the Hydra. Still, I haven't pulled the trigger. I love the Mini Freak, though. Mini Freak is dope. Mini Freak is, I think it's the best like bang for the buck for what capabilities for price of what you can get. The Mini Freak is no joke. But I think the Hydra is every bit as good of a synth. More expensive, obviously, although they have that smaller version with the keys that's kind of like the same form factor, huh? The was it the Explorer? Saw they just released like a orange, look like the General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard version. I find it weird with ASM that they're doing these specialty, limited edition colorways and stuff, which I'm not going to criticize them. I really like ASM, Ashen Sound Machines, but I've been dying to see a new product from them. I know they have to have something in development. It would just be so cool to see what them either another synthesizer, a drum machine, a sampler, something else, just a second product than all these different versions of the Hydra synth. And then now, after all these, what do we have? The original Hydra, Hydra Desktop, then they did the Deluxe and Explorer, and then now different versions and colors of those. I don't know. It just kind of is just like, really, okay, a colorway, instead of a new product. And I get it. It's not easy in this world. I'm sure, to research and develop and bring out a completely new product. But I mean, going on what, 5, 6, 7 years? When was the first Hydra released? What year was that? Like 18, 19, something like that. It's been a while to not really have a new product. The 888, yeah, wasn't very excited about that. It was like, it almost seemed like kind of a joke at the time, but whatever. Some people were excited about it, and that's cool. I also don't have a polyphonic aftertouch or MP controller with a lot of software MP. You know what? I am just totally into MP now. I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been like more controllers to come out because it's such a cool thing. What's the difference without the reverb on there? And then you bring in that spring reverb. reverb. Turn this up a little bit. Love that spring reverb. Huge fan. Delay goes a long way with it too. So cool. Hydra has always struck me as likely having one of the widest sonic palettes, but has seemed contingent on your sound design knowledge, and mine isn't super great. I would agree with that, Paul. It definitely takes some know-how, knowledge getting around on it. I think that the UI they designed is extremely intuitive, though, when you start uh, really learning how to, the way that you can build patches on it. I think is one of the best UIs I've ever used on the synthesizer. But it's so deep that definitely. I mean, I'm nowhere near as good at sound design as people who make patches for it that I see. It's definitely complex, but I think the UI kind of makes it a little simpler in some ways. But I would agree with you. I really thought the new Keylab would have it, but they opted for Channel Aftertouch. I don't even know why anybody nowadays doesn't have MP. It seems like should be something built into like every keyboard that comes out of any kind, or any kind of controller pads or anything. I think it's just missing out by not adding that feature in on everything now. Especially with like so many all software and so many synths now are including. They might not play MPE, but they have MPE where if you can control them with that, it's odd. Yeah, I've also been surprised the controllers have been as slow to come as they have been. Yeah, it's pretty bonkers to me that something like the new Keylab would come out without Poly Aftertouch. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, include regular Poly Aftertouch as even if you don't have MPE. I know it's probably kind of expensive. I think that you have to license it. I know ASM, who does the Hydrosynth, has mentioned they've been licensing it. So I don't know if which companies are using it, but then I wonder if they licensed it to Behringer, because doesn't the Poly Aftertouch on what is their Oberheim synth doesn't, I think, has Poly Aftertouch, their Oberheim clone thing. But yeah, you would think a lot more synthesizers would have it. But MPE is a whole nother thing. It's like, you go from like that regular on off button of a synthesizer, just on and off, and then Aftertouch is super cool, but it's still just an on and off. Poly Aftertouch is a bunch of on and offs at the same time, a lot more expressive. But with MPE on a controller, you get the different your pitch, your slide. You can play it like an actual stringed instrument, and it's a game changer for me when it comes to electronic music. The only bummer with like the instrument is I have to be tethered to. Well, I don't have to be. I can use it with the Hydra, which is I think the only hardware that I have at the moment that supports MPE. But yeah, it's a whole nother realm of fun when playing. especially with so many software companies dipping their toe into polyphonic abstraction MP. That's the thing, it's like you would think, especially controllers coming out like the Keylab, those of all things I would think would include those features because, I mean, it's made to control uh, all these virtual instruments that include it, and it makes a big difference. I've never tried MPE on a traditional keyboard. I'm not sure. I know that there's Osmos. It might be the only one that has, because you have to be able to go in different directions. Like you on the instrument. You have pressure this way, that way, slide. You know what I mean? So with a traditional key bed, I don't know how you could do that without like the Osmos's wiggly kind of key thing, which I haven't had my hands on one, so I don't know. I'm not sure how that would be. I'm not a huge keyboard player. I try. I come from a guitar and bass background, and DJing and stuff like that. So like, uh, I play and I try, but I mostly program. I do like to do sound design and stuff on them, but I think it'd be really difficult to try out the Osmos. It looks like it'd be kind of tricky to learn. That's why I like just the pads of the instrument or some of the other. What you guys think? Did you see that new? You guys must have saw it. I think they talked about it on Noir Stream. That damn, what's it called? It's like the thing where you use your hands. And it's like a controller. I think it's from Rolly, who's been known to do for MP. I wonder if that thing's got to be MP compatible too. But I wasn't sure what to make of that thing. It looked kind of, you use your hands to so you play and then like can do effects and things. I thought that was I don't know, could be cool, but it could be gimmicky. I'm not sure. Let's see. The Hydra actually seems like it could be a pretty great non-first synth for someone open to buying patches and ideally learning from those patches. Yeah, I mean, dissecting the patches on it is kind of how I've gotten better at it. Take a sound, start tweaking it, dissect how it was built has been extremely helpful to me on getting better at designing on it. I think I need to do more of that in general. I see people getting these great sounds out of their synth and selling them, and I'm often somewhat uninspired by defaults. Yeah, I see that too. People putting on those, packs of patches and stuff you can buy. I've seen a lot of that. I've never bought any of those. Done some free ones. Usually when they do updates for the Hydra, they'll add patches and stuff. Was it in that last big update? They like added more banks, I think. It's been a while. I think that was like a year ago or something. The Hydra's like grandmother lately, where I just haven't pulled it out as much as I probably should. Like I said, I've been like really into pigments lately. Because I can use MP with the controller, and pigments is like so deep. But I do love just the hardware and twiddling knobs and hitting buttons and stuff's a lot more fun than your keyboard and mouse. Let's see. Then being frustrated by not really having the chops to get there myself yet. Yeah, I can understand, man. I totally understand. Feel the same way sometimes. You want to get an Osmos Viral? Yeah, I mean, I did for like a minute. I had a friend who had his like pre-ordered for years while they waited, and he's pretty happy with it. He finally got it when they came out, and he's way into it. And I trust his opinion a lot on gear, but I don't know. I'm just not. It's not something that if I didn't have an MPE controller already, I'd probably be more inclined to think about purchasing one. But I'd like to see what they do next with that technology. This has been particularly true of the OBX. Keyboard theremin. That's basically what it is, huh? That's I have a theremin, and that's the first thing that came to my mind is like, wow, the theremin technology from, because when did that start? Like the 40s, 50s? Um, it's funny to see like that coming into the DAW virtual instrument world now with these controllers and stuff. I don't know. I'd like to play with one of those things, just to see what it was like. Could be gimmicky, could be something that you just use on like a track and then never want to use again. I mean, it looked pretty cheap. What was it, like $300 or something? But for something that you might just use once or just like not use at all once you tried it, not really worth the gamble. We'll see if anybody actually, uses it. You don't think you'd like that? So what are you guys all up to today? Is is the weather nice where you are? It's been pretty cool here this morning, probably the coldest morning. We're going to get really cold here this week. It looks like down into the below freezing. So we're already getting to that level. The weather here in northern Nevada goes from like, it's a drastic change, fall like kicks in and then it's freezing. Like by Halloween, it's usually winter, like full bore winter. We get snow here and stuff. So I appreciate everyone dropping by, hanging out. I was going to do some sampling today. The weekends, one of my routines is I hit the local thrift shops and garage sale around for vinyl records. I've got a bad vinyl collecting problem. And I found a big stack of some cool stuff yesterday. I got a really good deal on it, and was thinking about going through some of those records and see if there's any samples to pull out and just listening to. I just like to just listen to records sometimes, chill out, drink some coffee. '40s in the night, '60s in the day. There, you're back up in the Northwest, Viral, right? Yeah, we've been getting. It's funny. It'll be in the 40s the morning, and then by like early afternoon, we've been in the like high 80s. So it looks like it's really dropping down. I think we'll be just like 60s and then down into the 30s. We get pretty drastic spikes from morning to afternoon here. Very high desert, up in the very, very high desert. One thing I was talking about earlier with a synthesizer like the GrandMother, and not a whole lot of others that I own. I wish more synthesizers had an instrument input that you could run other things into it, and because that's really an underrated, cool thing to do, to kind of change up sounds, use other equipment, drum machines, microphones. I mean, obviously the 2600 has the preamp and input. You can do a lot with that, but using the spring reverb, different things, running guitars and things through synthesizers. I don't know. It's a really cool thing. I was thinking about maybe doing a video on it, because I was doing some experimentation and found some really cool stuff you can do with from like a drum machine, and then playing some bass and guitar through it. And I don't see a lot of people talk about that. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff out there, but I haven't seen many videos on that. I think it's just take an old synthesizer that you have that you're maybe kind of a little bit bored with or just don't use as often. It's got an instrument input, break it out, start using it as an effects processor, basically, for other gear. It kind of gives a new, a new purpose to that piece of gear, and might reinvigorate you to want to use it more often. Pacific Northwest, fall weather. Oh, I miss it. A lot of rain. I miss it. Miss going out to the Columbia River Gorge and camping up there. There's so many beautiful spots up there in the Northwest. Going to the coast. The Oregon coast is awesome. Washington coast. Similar to Minneapolis right now. Oh, you're in Minneapolis, Paul? Right on. I have some family out there. We were talking about going out to visit, but probably not in the winter. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe this spring or something. I was gonna fly the kids out there. Their aunt lives out there and stuff, and she's come out to visit this way a few times, and I've never been to Minnesota, and I'd like to check it out. Beginning back into guitar this year. Want to try playing with using it as input for the Subsequent 37. Perfect. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's like having like a crazy effects pedal, like a giant weird effects pedal that you can do synthesis on. Is Yeah, I think it's very cool. Yeah, I've been trying to play a little more guitar myself and bass. Play acoustic a lot. I got a 12 string a while back, and God, I hate tuning that thing. So I mostly play my Ovation 6 string, and well, I'll just like play and jam with Studio One open with a track recording, and then go back and like later and kind of chop it up a little bit and then throw it on my SD card or something into the MPC, or drop it into the Octatrack or Digitact and use it for just like samples. But I'm telling you, yeah, running it through synth inputs for instrument inputs on other gear is super cool. I was doing something a few weeks ago where I had all of them like 4 or 5 cents MIDI together to where like they'd all play with different patches at the same time, and then was running that through the grandmother, just to try it out. I like to experiment sometimes, and made it into a totally insane patch on its own. That then I put into the MPC, and I've been meaning to turn into like a key group, because you can take one sound and then just make a synthesizer out of that. Have make an oscillator basically out of it, or auto sample it, where you can sample each key and actually make it a full on synth of the sounds. So yeah, just some cool. It's always fun to experiment with gear that you've had for like a long time. You're like, wow, I never thought of using it this way. I think we're always so quick to want to get something new and get some new sound when we haven't like necessarily gotten all the potential and capabilities out of the gear that we already have. And we've already spent money on this stuff. We might as well like try and get the most out of it. Yeah, man, the grandmother, I think it's still a great synth even now, coming up into 2025. I think it's beautiful. It can sound really pretty. Get bassy with it though. Lost one of my little white things that go over this little knob. Kind of bums me out. I don't know what the heck happened. The cat got up here or something and knocked it off. It does that. Really like the bass, don't you? Kind of overdrive it a little bit. kinds of crunchy. Make some good kick drums on the GrandMother too. Yeah. Some X mod. Just get really weird with the modulation. Apply it back. Noise up. I don't have my patch cables out. I could do a lot more when you start patching on it. I could break something out and build a patch, but I was just kind of playing. I wanted to. It's good for these. I've been told for these analogs to just let them stay on. Sometimes you don't turn them on for a long time. Like they go out of tune more often. Can you mod the filter and another oscillator at the same time? Yeah, if I start patching it, you can do all kinds of stuff. I need to get out some patch cables. I don't have those out at the moment. But yeah, you got, I mean, for modulation, you got rate in, sync, sample, hold out, wave out, and then you got for the oscillators, pitch in, PWM in, wave outs. You can get really, there's a mixer section, utilities, the attenuator, and the filter's got input, envelope amount in, cutoff in, output. You can get, I mean, it's like basically like having a bunch of separate modules. It's all pretty much normaled. In normal mode, you'd have to, but you can take out and start patching with it. Maybe next time I'll get out like the patch cables and actually build a patch. I'll just had it out, just wanted to fire it up and play with it a little bit, just regular. But yeah, you can do a lot with the modulation, especially you team this up with the Mother, DFAM, and Subharmonicon and start patching in between those and the Spectravox. You can get all kinds of stuff going then. But yeah, maybe I'll do a whole patch building stream sometime. Now that I have her out and on the desk, I think I'll leave GrandMother here for, I don't know, a week or two, and do some stuff. I have thought about it. I haven't used GrandMother with the Spectravox yet, so I'd like to like break that out, maybe do some patching in between that, because Spectravox is like a filter bank, probably do some really cool stuff with modulation there. But without patching, you only have so many capabilities. But I appreciate you guys all dropping by and hanging out, man. It's been a while since I've been on. Like I said, I just haven't been very motivated or whatnot to make videos lately. Work and everything going on in life, just haven't felt very creative. So I was looking at GrandMother this morning. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna jam, just play a little bit with it, fire it up, and listen to her for a little while. I appreciate you guys all hanging out. I do plan to do some more streaming. Good stuff. Hey, thanks, Hans. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate you. Viral. Cool. Thanks, man. I missed your stream yesterday. I was checking it out a little bit last night before I went to bed. Um, had some stuff going on yesterday. Took the kids to see the new Beetlejuice. They dug that. Uh, been a long time since the original. Um, not a bad flick if you go check out if you go to the movies. I hadn't been to the movie theater in some time, so um, yeah, I definitely plan to try and get on more. I think for these next few weeks, at least one more week, I'm going to have like 3 day weekends for a little bit. It's a little slow at work, kind of doing some longer hours, 4 days a week, and I'm not super bummed about that, to be honest. Tweak the filter. Love the filter on this thing. There's that classic Moog ladder filter is always fun. Hey, thanks, Paul. I'm glad you could come by. Good hanging out. Appreciate about to run through these synthex presets. Cool. Yeah, I'll try and jump on if I can. Check that out. Hi, I watch your videos and enjoy them. What's up, John Bond, Tempe? Thanks for dropping by. You have a ton of gear. Yeah. I just have an MPC-1 and Arturia Mini Brute 2S with 4U rack brute attached with only DIY modules in it. That's cool. That sounds like a hell of a powerful setup. Yeah. I appreciate you coming by. Yeah, the MPC-1. I still have my MPC-1. I haven't let it go. I was showing my daughter how to use it a little bit, and then she sort of gravitated more towards the SP404. Uh, but I think I'm going to use it now that 3.0's out. I want to do a comparison of like the workflows between like, the 3.0 and the whatever it's on now, 2.15. Um, and then see what I want to do with it. I don't know. I've seen some people use multiple NPCs together. Desk space is an issue for me, and yeah, I do. I have too much gear. I've been thinking. I've been thinking lately about maybe. Well, I'm going to split it up into two different areas of the house and have like the main studio and then a second studio with some equipment in there for like test equipment and tape stuff, and then probably that's where the semi-modular stuff might go down to, like the grandmother and the other Moogs and the 2600 and stuff. But I love DIY modules as it gives me two hobbies in one. Nice, very zen making your own modules. That's super cool. If I was gonna actually build a Euro rack or get into that, I think that'd be the route that I would go. I have a buddy in Arizona who's been into modules and Euro, like built a Euro rack years ago, and he does all the ones he does are all DIY kits that he makes himself. He doesn't spend like crazy money on these modules, and it just looks like a lot of fun because I do enjoy like you know working with electronics and soldering and stuff like that. So at some point, I think I may if I do go down that path, which could happen if I ever, depending on time. Um, that would be the way to go, is the DIY, doing it yourself with the modules, build up something without spending an insane amount of money. And the learning process of learning all the circuits and stuff in there would be super, super cool. That's awesome, John. I've limited myself to semi modular for the time being. That Arturia little for you rock brew attachment, that seems like a pretty good option for a case to start with. I've looked at that several times through the years, so that sounds like a dope setup, man. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm gonna go make some more coffee. See if it rained out there, and maybe try and get a little yard work done today. Got some other got to prepare for the week for everybody for going back to work and school and everything tomorrow. But this was fun. It's been nice to see you guys, and appreciate you all dropping by. I'll try and peace, Paul. Try and get on more often. Remember PMA, positive mental attitude, all day, every day. Don't let the little shit get you down. And you know, if you're not being creative, it's okay to take breaks. It's okay to take a moment, a week, a month, a year, if need be, to just live regular life. And then that's kind of how we find inspiration, right? Is through other things that then we bring back into the studio and to our sketch pads, and make the music and the creativity. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys, and thanks. I hope everyone has a awesome week. Take care, John, Hans, Viral, Paul. You guys are awesome.